Welcome back. New episode. It's going to be fun. Thank you guys for all the patience. I don't want to take up too much of your time. This week is Jason Thompson. Weird how you meet people for this show has always been the theme, and this episode is no different. I met Jason through Shannon Gilmore, who was on this season already. Hired him to do some work. He said, I got guys that would be great for this, which he was correct about. And up walks Jason. We had a talk. I found out he was in recovery, asked him if he'd want to do the show. Never been on a podcast before. I don't know if he was nervous or not. He didn't show he was, but he knocked it out of the park. Great story. Great way to learn how to live recovery within the boundaries of what you know works for you and staying very disciplined to stay in those boundaries. He's got a great story, great attitude, and I love talking to him. What a great human being. All right. Enjoy this episode of We Made My Day with Jason Thompson. What did you do in mental health?
Starting out, I managed recovery home for Hope House, Bill Buck here, and I was one of the managers for the off-site housing for the WTC, which eventually WTC built their own housing, and Bill lost that contract, but he still. I have worked as a peer support on an assertive community treatment team, which is basically a counselor without the degree. An ACT team is pretty high level of care.
Yeah.
It's I've worked in a detox, teaching groups, recovery groups, co-occurring disorder group, all that good stuff. Ran a men's program in Brunswick County briefly. I was almost fully credentialed as a CSAT, and I lost my job with a recovery business, if you will, out here in Wilmington. I don't want to put a name, a name out there, but they were downsizing, is what it was, and I think they needed to have a certain image.
Yeah.
But anyway, regardless, I lost that and I moved back home. I've tried to get jobs, a counseling job in, what little places we do have in the sticks. Mm-hmm. But that didn't work out, so I had to get back into construction. So it was about 5 or 6 years worth of,
I find out crazy that I've been doing this for a year and a half. This is second season. I do 20 episodes a season, and I find it crazy that I've found guests, like they've been recommended and stuff, but I've found guests in the most random places. Like you were here doing some work. Like I hired Shannon, who's been on the show, Shannon Gilmore. He was like, yeah, my crews are the best, and he was right, by the way. And then he was like, yeah, he's in recovery too. I'm like, no fucking way. Like, that's just crazy on how everything kind of works out. What was your sober date?
I use different language now, but my clean date is August 9th, 2011.
Damn, man.
So coming up on 14 years.
Dude, that's pretty badass. What was August 8th like?
August 8th, 2011. I don't remember a whole lot. I probably remember August 7th a little better. I had been up for a long time, and I just wanted to go to sleep. I had been up for, 5 or 6 days, and last thing I drank a hot tall boy that had been laid on that camper floor for like 2 days, and like guzzled that down, and Tried to sleep it off at my brother's house. So that was probably the 7th. No, that was probably the 8th maybe. It's been a while, but August 9th I went to a little facility down south.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was crazy.
It is, man. What,
Yep.
like, was it one of the? And you don't have to get in anything you don't want to get in. Was it one of those like you knew you were gonna go somewhere, so you just one last hoorah, or was
No,
it the family just like fuck this?
I had about 16 months prior to that.
Yeah.
8 months in prison. I got out of prison 8 months clean. I left a meeting, thought it was all right for me to drink again. And so within 11 months, like that last relapse, if you will, I ended up in jail and 2 rehabs facing a 4th prison sentence.
Damn.
So I hadn't planned on getting clean.
Right.
Like I had no plan. My last run, it's been so long. I don't really remember where the money come from, but I had I used to get a disability check, so I got a lot of back pay.
Yeah.
And at some point, I bought this camper and this truck. Well, in a relapse, I had sold the truck, so that funded. But anyway, I was clean for a little bit, and we were trying to set this camper up on the land that I live on to start over. And anyway, my last run was in there, and it's kind of crazy. I was in the camper, had no power, no nothing, no water, nothing. My dad, we were in the process of setting it up, and all I had was a little moped, and I'm in there really, really high. It always starts out with booze and coke, right? Mm. Then you're like, well, the coke man can't get you another one quick enough, so you hit the crack man up. And I was so paranoid. I don't know who they are, but I knew they were coming. I knew they were coming to get me, man.
Right.
And I'm on the back of this.
I know that feeling,
they're coming
bro.
to get me, man.
I know that feeling.
So I'm in this camper in the sticks on the back of a farm next to a cornfield. I'm surrounded by crops. And I could hear them. So I ran in the cornfield. And then I heard something in the cornfield. Like, oh, God. So I ran back in the camper, and I could hear these imaginary, 4-wheel drive. They're coming to get me. They got 4-wheel drives. I can hear them coming across the field. So I jump on. My only solution was to jump on my moped. And, I mean, it's not good to ride a moped out there around these fields. Anyway, I was riding my moped around these fields, like just eating. I don't know how many grams I ate. Should be dead. At least I probably ate 3 or 4 grams. Like, you might get me, but you're not gonna get my drugs. And I'm like, and
you're not gonna get me.
Yeah, you never get my drugs. See, but it's like I had no plan on. And then I was out of drugs, and I drank that hot tall boy. I was just wanted to go to sleep. That's all. I didn't care about getting clean. I just want to go to sleep, man.
Yeah.
And I got contacted my brother the next day. I said, bro, I need help. He's like, what do you need help with? I'm like, what have I always needed help with since what I started using in 1994, if you don't count cigarettes. Right,
yeah.
But like I started using drugs when I was 14 in 1994, and I was 31. So I've been using for 17 years. I said, I need help with the thing I've always needed help with. And he was like, how much did you spend? I said, all of it. Because that's what but it was the rare occasion. I had a money order in my pocket for like $90 because I owed my friend some money, and I was going to try to make amends. And
yeah,
it was the craziest thing. I had never come off of a run with like something left in my pocket ever.
It's a sign.
Yeah. So we called the previous rehab I had went to. They didn't have any beds. And you know what I'm saying? It was one of those when you don't have insurance, you don't have money, You go to the Christian rehab out in the woods that's free.
Yeah.
There's a lot of those. And don't get me wrong.
There's a lot of different ones.
Yeah, a lot of people have gotten. My brother got clean like that. And I've tried to get clean like that many times. I've just found that I needed 12-step recovery.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, they didn't have any beds, so there was this new place, and at the time it was Brunswick Christian Recovery Center. It wasn't even registered with the state yet.
Yeah. It wasn't that also like a Pray the Gay Away type camp on one side and an actual like Christian rehab? Okay, there was another one around here back in the 90s that was a Pray the Gay Away type.
No, that's not it. This was brand new in 2011.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Might have been new when I got there in August of 2011, but it had nothing to do with sexuality. It was just straight addiction.
Gotcha.
But it was Brunswick Christian Recovery Center. At the time, it was ran by a guy who got clean in AA, so we utilized the AA Big Book a lot. We did a Wally P Back to Basics program, which was an AA archivist and historian, kind of a quick trip through the steps. There was one NA meeting down there. So it's like we went to AA meetings and we went to some Celebrate Recovery meetings because the facility was backed by a church. It's all donations. Our motto was, if it's out of date, it's on your plate, But we ate pretty good. But yeah, that's where I got started. And it was ran by a guy who got clean in AA, what we would call a big book thumper.
Yeah.
And that's where I started.
Man.
Again.
And that was your last attempt. Like, it's been clean since.
Rehab number 4, facing my 4th prison sentence. I finally figured out I cannot drink alcohol. Man. All the other stuff is like no brainer.
Yeah, yeah. And it's still like
I finally figured it out.
Yeah, I never had to go to jail, but I should have so many times. I don't know how I got around it. I don't know. I feel very lucky because of it, but also I think it would have taught me a lot quicker. You know what I mean? But I've never been, so I don't know. Like, people that never been are always like, I probably should have been. And then people that have, like, you're a fucking idiot. Like, you know what I mean? So after that, like, and your brother's sober too, right? I think I heard him say
April 19th, he'll have 15 years.
Man, that's cool.
It was crazy. In that last stretch of recovery or clean time, sobriety, whatever you want to call it, actually, me and his ex drove him to rehab. And then I went back out. So now that's why he has a year more than me.
Gotcha.
So,
man, and y'all, well, that's a good support system.
That's a good thing. Yeah.
That's a good support system to have. So since then, like, what was so what this show basically focuses on is how people with 3 or more years, which this season I've been bringing in people with a little bit less than 3, because they've just been doing amazing things with themselves, and I feel some people deserve to have the pats on the backs and brag about themselves a little bit. But it's mainly on, like, how they stayed clean and the different things and characteristics and emotions that can kind of come, like like within the first few years. I would say the first 3 years. What would you say you were more like, what was your primary emotion towards it? Was it more pink cloud gung ho, or was it more aggravated?
Emotion wise, year 1 was quick. Yeah, I spent 4 months in that facility. I moved to Wilmington. I had 4 months. And I was scared. Yeah. Because I wasn't in the safety of that facility anymore. I do well in this jail. I'm a good, I do well in a structured environment. But when I get out, I'm like, oh God. But I was scared. and I just went to a lot of meetings. I was more of an AA guy at that point, and I had clean time in that program before, so I knew what had worked for me. Sponsor, meeting, service, don't use. Now I can't drink anymore. And I just went to a lot of meetings, like so many. And then when I picked up my 1 year chip, somebody was like, oh, year 2 is harder. Some random guy. And I'm like, screw you, man. But he was right.
I know.
I was
Come
like,
on, man.
thanks a lot, Dick.
I was just like, yeah, look at this car I just got. Like, I mean, that color's going to fade in a year, man. Like,
Right.
You don't, that's fucked up, man.
I think year 2 was a little tougher. You just become more aware of things. Like you said, I lived off of that disability check. Diagnoses, which may or may not be accurate, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think they are, but I got some mental health issues too. But I was living off of like $712 a month, so halfway houses. And luckily around month 8, I got that job with Bill Buck managing. So my rent was covered. But I'd say year 2, actually from 12 months to 22 months, because there was a change at 22 months. I don't know. I just, I'm a 12-step guy, dude. I went to a lot of meetings. I did a lot of service work, what we call service, and I sponsored a lot of guys riding that little moped around Wilmington, trying not to die. I couldn't tell you the names of the roads. I know where the potholes are. I know the cut-through roads, I know where the good place to chain it up so your moped don't get stolen.
Right, which happens a
lot.
Yeah.
In Wilmington, if you don't tie it down, it grows legs, Yeah. And,
that's a good point. I should probably.
But it was good and not, it's challenging. I just, how it is. You stay clean so you don't have to go through year 1 again.
Was that the biggest fear for you, is starting it over? Like the way you just commented on, like, yeah, my brother has more than me. Is it like a competition between y'all, or
not really?
No, like a no.
I'm not scared of dying. Like
Right.
I'm the guy. I've started over so many times. I was 31 years old, starting over again.
Yeah.
Just tired. You're sick of it. So I don't know where I'm going.
Yeah.
I'm just if I do this, I stay clean. I don't know where I'm going, but I can't go back there. That's all I know.
Right.
That's it. So it's kind of like, I don't know. That's it.
It's a big drive for me, is to not have to start over. It is well, for one, losing what kind of found its way into my life.
Yeah.
Like every morning, man, people always like, and I'm cool with how everybody does this. Like, I do a gratitude list in the morning. I always do. But it's always the same stuff. Like, I don't feel like I deserve everything that I have. And it's not much, but it's mine. And I've never had stuff.
Yeah.
But it's more of what my biggest fear is losing the people.
Yeah.
The things can go fuck itself. It's the people. And that's my biggest drive, and also I don't say I'm scared to die, but I don't want to. I don't fucking want to, especially now that it's like there's a 5-year-old in the mix. Like that's where that's not my. I can't leave that one.
Yeah, family was. You could feel like. Those relationships were like, they were just scared. You can sense it. They never said it, but they were waiting for you to mess up. Because you always have. Why would they not think that?
Yeah.
And it's like a lot of people get clean and, I'm patting myself. Like, I wasn't patting myself on the back. Like, I knew I screwed up a lot. But then it seems like after the 3-year mark, they had more faith in me than I did.
Yeah.
Like, people have a lot of faith in me. I still don't have a lot of faith in myself. Like, I don't know. I'm kind of a screwball. I might make it. We'll see. Time will tell.
Day by day.
Day at a time.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good feeling, though, when I remember that one time where my mom quit asking me on how I was feeling. Because I had a lot of a lot of mental health stuff too, and I've kind of developed my own ways. Like I can't take the prescription lab based meds again anymore.
Right.
Like antidepressants, anti-anxiety. I can't do it. Like they fuck me up even worse. But like after about year 3, yeah, it was about then where she just quit asking me. And like I've said it on here before, like there was a time like around year 5 where I looked around and I realized that besides the people I'd met in recovery, everybody else that I had met through like my wife and other people, like nobody knew that side of me. Nobody knew that me. And then they just knew me from the goofy ass, unproportioned ginger that they knew and were friends with. And it was weird, and it almost made me it almost made me want to self-sabotage everything until like it was more of like, hey, that's dumb. Why would you undo all the work that you've done with it? So you've been doing the program with AA.
Well, that was I started going to Al-Anon, which is for the families, but I come from a long line of addicts, you know, and codependent queens, and it all funneled into just some extra screwy.
Yeah.
So I just discovered Al-Anon. I got a lot of relief there from dealing with the family stuff because addiction is rampant.
Yeah.
And I started going to NA meetings around that time. So for a while, at one point I was going to 5 different programs in Wilmington, you know. So yeah, I've been going to NA a while, at least 13 years. But I had a big shift around year 6. I wasn't doing well. That's when I had lost that job. I'm like not even a year away from being fully credentialed as a counselor. I'm can't afford deposits and, you know, all that to stay at one place. I had to move back home to the farm because I could afford to survive there. But anyway, that's when I started over and just became NA only. It was just simpler. I identified more in there. You know, the difference between AA and NA is neck tattoos, right?
I've never heard that.
Well, fundamentally, if you study them all, you know, AA teaches you spiritual malady, NA teaches you disease, disorder, illness, malady. The actions are the same. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I studied, and I felt comfortable. No, I was like, I know I can stay clean there because it's saying the same thing. It's the actions to stay clean are the same. So for the next 6 years, I was like NA only. Last year and a half, I was kind of in survival mode, living in the sticks. You get to the meetings you can get to. So I was going to both again and trying to run a business. I got too much on my plate, and things were getting rocky again. And I'm like, I've decided recently, I just want to be the NA guy, dude. I got an NA all my sponsees are at NA, my home group. I go to meetings there. I needed to simplify my life because I'm a small business owner now, like year 3 of that. So I've tried to just be one program, you know, as best I even ran the Celebrate Recovery program at our church for like 2 years. I was the leader of that. So I had way too much stuff going on, and
how hard was it for you to keep it simple? It's a task. Because that's important. Keeping it simple is
very important.
So important, and that's where
one of my old grand sponsors, he had a saying, simplify or die. So even though I have the ability to wear many hats, I'm fluent. I can sponsor in like 4 or 5 different programs proficiently. I'm fluent. I can speak. You know what I'm saying? I can do all that. I can counsel. I can run a construction business. Can't seem to keep a relationship.
Bro.
But even though I'm able, it can still be too much. And I think it can confuse new people too. So I other programs are wonderful. I just prefer to be the NA guy, man. And I'll really give a shit about anonymity. People find out Jason Thompson's going to meetings, they're like, thank God. The world, like, thank God. So,
yeah,
Jason Thompson's clean and not the same guy. So that is the power of 12-step recovery. Like, if nothing else gets hurt, it's like, I had to fire a guy recently, an employee, and, you know, I had been vulnerable and shared some things about my past, and, you know, he tried to throw that in I'm like, dude, everybody knew I was a bad guy. Or maybe a sick guy, whatever. My sins are no secret.
Yeah.
I'm not that guy today. You know what I mean? So, anyway.
No, that's people love to throw it back. I remember I was dating this one girl. It was a year clean. I shouldn't have been dating anybody.
Right.
And she was messing around, doing a bunch of dudes, and she blamed it on me getting upset about it, that I needed to go to a meeting. And I'm like, no, we're done right there. I would have worked on things, but you just brought that into it. You never say that. I think self-care is the most important thing, and you can't always be in the recovery world and recovery mindset. Like, what do you do for, like, self-care for yourself to kind of center back after being there for others?
Well, I'm an extremist. I'm learning to balance. Learned in AA originally, you know, balance with the 12-step. Giving is not a question. It's a matter of when and how. So I'm either way too much or not enough, and I'm always too much. So usually when I crash and burn, I hit the wall, I crash and burn. But every time, I'm like, ow, that hurts. What do I got to do? Okay, get some stuff off the plate. I always have too much on the plate. And when I had 3 years, you know, I was working on the ACT team in mental health, holding out a mental health professional job. I had my own recovery home. I was going to meetings in AA, going to meetings in NA, doing service in both, sponsoring one. I had a sponsor, and I was serving in like 3 different programs. And this old timer was like, if you're too busy, you're too busy.
Yeah.
And then this other lady was like, well, being busy is a form of control. You don't have to look at what's going on inside you. So sometimes I remember that. You know, that was 10 years ago. So I keep having the same problems over and over. I'm physically clean, but I'm still, so basically it's never simple.
Yeah. No,
I'm long-winded, high verbal.
Good.
So when I crash and burn again, it's like, okay, do an inventory. What's going on? What do I need to do or not do to get back on track?
Yeah.
And I've been way off track many times, but a lot of time, years clean. I've been hospitalized 8 years clean. I've had to do seven days at the little mental health place, you know, shuffling around in my grippy socks, which I love, by the way.
I still have like 10 pairs of them, dude.
Dude, let me get a pair. I love them things.
Those are great.
I could use, I'm like, today, I'm like, can I go somewhere for 7 days? I can't do it now. Like, I could use the break, dude. But yeah, 8 years clean. I was hospitalized again for untreated depression. Got help for that. That was a crazy time. My dad almost died. My cousin did get killed. I went through another breakup. And then my depression had been untreated for a while. Yeah. I think some people can take medicine, get off, and then some people need to stay on. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I'm one of those that had to, like, stay on.
Yeah.
So recently, I've had another recent experience with that. Doing all the things we do, helping people, serving, meetings, living the program, practice these principles, and all my affairs, like trying to be an integral part of my family. I'm not the piece of crap anymore. You know, now they're talking about somebody else. And, you know, now my cousin's in hot water. I'm like, well, at least they're not talking about me now, right? But, which is kind of, it's more sad.
Right, no, I know it. But you get to actually join the conversation instead of being the conversation.
I'm like, how can you not look at my life before and after and be like, there's a solution there? Like, it was like, You know,
Yeah.
should be like flashing signs or something. That guy was a. I slithered into that last facility, and now to be sitting here talking about higher powers, God, and change and actual recovery and living it and enjoying the fruits of all. You know, you got a family, and I'm like,
Yeah.
but recently, okay. I'm like 2.5 years post-divorce again. I got married, I can't remember, 2025, so it would have been 2022, which I would have had about 11 years clean at that point, 10 or 11. Met my best friend in the rooms, you know, and finally it's happening for me, and we got married, and it was like freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Wonderful, you know, finally, because everybody I sponsored, right, they're going to college, they're having, like, they're living the good life. I'm like, what? Well, it didn't take long. She stopped, you know, working with her stopped going to her therapy and getting all the help she need. And like within, we weren't even married 5 months. It went from wonderful to a nightmare, you know.
Yeah. It's quick. Man.
Wake up in the morning and like, we're going to have, if she's screaming at the dogs, we're having a bad day. I'm like, oh shit, here we go. So, but I tried to, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
anyway, I got off when she left. I assumed a lot of debt to make our life better. And then we were going to pay that off in 2 years and build a house on the land we had. We had like a whole plan. Then she left. So now I have all the debt, which ain't a lot. It's not, I've heard of people with a lot more.
I got stuck with close to 18 grand.
Yeah, 25.
Yeah. So we're right around.
And a 2008 Ford Focus. I missed that little car. I was like, I love that little car. Let me get it back. But anyway, so May the 2nd of 2022, I started a business. May the 7th, I got married. October the 4th, I'm getting a separation. Like, so I'm like, it's all uncharted territory. You know, and I didn't have time or money now for therapy. And if you don't see the therapist, you didn't see it. So, my mental health just took a nosedive. I went through probably the darkest time with like 11 years clean, and just ride it out. Don't keep the gun out of your mouth, put your boots on, go to work. I'm still doing the other program stuff, but like sometimes like that's it, bro. It's like, that's my best tool.
Yeah.
Don't keep the gun out of your mouth, and put your boots on, go to work. And
do you have anything that you do like recreationally, hobby wise, that you do to kind of like calm the disease down, that maybe like during those times?
Well, during that time I had one month I worked 31 days in a row, Saturdays, nothing. There was no time. It was just like, this was not the plan. You know what I'm saying? So I just rode that out. And then, you know what I'm saying, things got a little bit better. It takes a while to process those things. But 2.5 years later, now here we are now. I got to a bad place. The unmanageability's back, you know, to answer the self-care question previously. I had too much on my plate again. I did some new step work. You know, it talks about endless loops and self-centered routines. Well, the endless loop that I've been called in for almost 14 years is like my mental health being treated, untreated. Mm-hmm. So all my recovery bases are covered.
Yeah.
And all I had to do was contact a doctor. So I got some things off the plate, taking medicine again, which is clean according to certain medicines, clean according to NA. But anyway, things I like to do, binge watch Netflix. I would really love to have the time to take the dogs to the park. We live on a farm, they get to run a lot, but they're kind of confined. So I haven't had time. I started skateboarding again when I had like 4 years clean. I used to do stuff. I used to go to the beach. You know, I was in that probably the best place spiritually I've ever been before that marriage.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just derailed.
Oh, yeah.
So for the last 3 years, it's been rough.
Yeah.
But you're surviving. You're trying to be grateful and all that stuff. And it's still, processing resentments. And
it's hard to be grateful all the time.
Yeah.
Especially when like, it's different for people who have the disease of addiction, and then that's it. And then there's people like you and I who there's the disease of addiction, and then there's the chemical imbalance that doesn't let your mind stay happy and can quickly pitfall. Yeah, like I had it 2 days ago. Actually, no, it was yesterday. Like, I had a bad day at work, and all of a sudden I'm like, I'm the biggest piece of shit, and it took till 10 o'clock last night for my wife to talk me out of it. Like, I'm just like, this is dumb, I'm not worth it, like, and it goes like I have to do things, like, I'll do anything to get my mind, like, I'll play video games, I was prepping for this, getting the equipment ready, all that stuff, that's relaxing. It used to be reading, but then I can't even focus long enough to do that anymore, man.
My noodles cook. So.
Yeah. Like, I read the same sentence 5 times, and I'm like, all right, I'm done with this now. Cleaning, folding laundry, all that shit is stuff that relaxes me and gets me out of my head. It's the weirdest thing, man. I'm so fucking domesticated. It's dumb. I'm just like a house cat.
Sounds nice. No, I'm just like, it's Well, this is kind of a funny thing. One of the doctors I used to work alongside, and I'm not going to put his name out there. Right. He's in recovery too, but he would say, some of us have ticks and fleas, Co-occurring is the new language they use. And, so it is, if I'm doing the right things, I'm relatively happy, relatively sane.
Good.
I have peace and serenity. The biggest, when I get really busy, if I have my quiet time, I had to work my meditation in. I used to spend a lot of time in meditation, like, and I've done all love it. Wonderful. I've done it any way you can think of, regardless of the method. If you spend enough time doing it, you get centered in the present.
Yeah.
So I've done all the weird ways, and, they're all effective if you spend enough time doing it. So when you get busy, your life gets different. It gets gooder,
Yeah.
Like, okay, I got good new problems. I've never had these problems before. This is good, but I would shut my radio off on the way to work. If I get that quiet time in the morning meditation, like, it just, if I don't, the day can get messy. Then you have to stop at some point and, like, do something for meditation, or reading, whatever you do. There's so many methods out there. A little bit of introspection, maybe some journaling, just to get that crap out of your head.
Journaling is fantastic.
Yeah.
Meditation, it took me till last year to realize the importance of that.
Yeah.
I had a guest that does meditation for a living, like teaches meditation classes.
Okay.
And he was like, you got to try it. I'm like, man, I don't have the time, or I can't shut up inside long enough to do that. He was like, let's try it. And we did it. And I'm like, every morning, 5 o'clock, I wake up and I go in that office by myself, and I sit Indian style on the floor in the dark, and I just sit there in the quiet for 10 minutes. And it's the best way to start the day.
Absolutely. That's wonderful.
So nice. What, a couple questions I always ask everybody. What characteristic do you still sometimes have now that you had back when you were using, that kind of pops up and you're like, whoa, there's that thing?
Well, when I'm narrow-minded, I don't know it. I just don't really have the ability to listen to other people. I'm a guy who's known for knowing in the rooms. Like, I'm the recovery guy who knows stuff.
Yeah.
So then I get to a point where I have trouble listening. You know what I'm saying? But I can, do a little bit of writing, step work, talk to my sponsor, and then I'll go into a meeting. I'm hearing a message from people with a lot less time than me. And so I'm like, so narrow-mindedness. Denial can be one. still blaming somebody else. I'm still mad at her because if she had done this, we would have been better here. So I'm still blaming her for my current circumstances and situation. And I'm like, no, I made a lot of choices in there. So I'm like, okay, I've been in denial for like 2.5 years. I just realized that like 3 days ago. I'm like, oh my God. And just being self-righteous, and you mentioned the self-sabotage, which is so common for addicts, right?
Yeah.
So common. And I don't know I'm doing it. I see what she did. She sabotaged her whole everything.
Mm-hmm.
But me not treating my mental health for 2.5 years, that's like a form of I'm like, holy crap, I'm doing the same stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So and then dealing with that guy recently that I had to fire, it's kind of sad. I'm not going to put all his business out there,
Yeah.
but I'm like, the lesson from that is like condemning others. You're really like condemning yourself. So I'm like, you know what I'm saying? It
sounds like he had a form of self-sabotage going.
He claimed to have 5 years in another program.
Yeah.
But he was shooting steroids.
Oh, yeah, that'll do it.
And then about 2 weeks ago, his whole demeanor changed. And everything was good until like something changed. And then it was delicate because you need a body to keep the business going. And okay, he's not a bad guy. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah.
But anyway, I let him go, and he roid raged through the phone. I got some nasty texts, and as he was throwing some stuff, and I'm like, I want to be mad. I'm just more annoyed. I'm kind of annoyed. I'm like, it's like, you need to get off the steroids, bro.
Yeah.
Brother, I said, brother, best of luck to you. Because that can be
yeah, that's...
You think of like Chris Benoit, like all the people that have had trouble with that substance. I'm like,
yeah,
that's a bad thing too. It's like just as... So I'm like...
The emotions are unmanageable at a certain point, and that's not safe.
Well, there was a little bit of concern there. I was like, hopefully... Well, I'm not scared or anything. I was like, well, hopefully I don't have to fight steroid, man. Maybe he won't pop up at my meetings or something.
Yeah, it's not about being scared. It's something you don't want to have to put up. You know,
Come
you don't
on,
want to
bro.
have to do that on a Tuesday.
Yeah, it's like Tuesday afternoon. Just want to go to my meeting.
If it's avoidable.
The Taco Bell's right there. I get my dinner. I can go to Walmart, get my dog food. I go home, shower, get up the next day.
Yeah. Without fighting a roider. Yeah.
Now, so the things or defects, if you will, that pop up, my main three were always self-righteous, inadequate, I'm not, and controlling. That was the big three. There's a list.
And those are three, too, that can counter each other, too.
Right.
Inadequacy and the controlling are constant battle with each other. I have to do that, too.
So I would say like the first 13 point whatever years, those are kind of the big three: self-righteous, inadequate, controlling. But now I'm at a point in my life again where I think I'm spiritually awake, carrying this message, and I'm like, that's a delusion. I'm living in the unmanageability of the first step. I'm back to looking at denial again, narrow-mindedness, basic first-year stuff. So I'm not sure what I'm going to discover going forward. So I'm like, there's, always something to work on, I guess.
There's always something to work on. We're never at 100%, which is okay. It's okay to not be okay.
Right.
It's the biggest lesson I've learned the past year. It is okay to not be okay. And just the awareness of that is what kind of gets me. Like I said, I don't do the medications anymore just because it was more different emotions, and my body is weird about medications.
Yeah.
So
drugs are bad. Man.
Drugs are bad, man.
No, here's a funny thing. Well, it's not funny. People are like, "Oh, you got clean young." I was 31. I'm like, it was pretty bad. I was like, I could use some more. I don't think it's a good idea, man.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, no, dude. It got rough there at the end, though.
Yeah. Well, it's. I'm just glad that it. And as much as you're sitting here saying, like, well, I'm back in this and I'm still got to do this, the fact that you're aware of it, like self-awareness and accountability are the two biggest foundations for success, I believe. Because if you're not self-aware and if you're not taking accountability for at least knowing those emotions, then what are you standing on? What kind of solid ground are you standing on, you know? And
it's not solid. You're standing on ego.
Exactly. Exactly.
Somebody, the rug's about to get pulled out.
And ego's being one of my
that thing grows back like a bad tumor, you know?
It doesn't go away. I have to keep that ego in check every single moment of every single day because I still think I know better than anybody else.
Yeah.
But it's one of those
All
things.
my ideas are great.
Shut up.
All my ideas are great, man. I thought of them, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Like my biggest thing is I just got to make sure that I shut up and listen to everybody.
Yeah.
And then that kind of keeps my ego down from me thinking that I know better than, and all the, like, I don't know nothing about construction, siding, bro. I can't even drill a hammer in without bending it. I can't. Oh, I just said a hammer in, not a nail. Like that's how bad I am at it. But I'll still sit there and think that I can do stuff that I can't do. Man, I can't hang a shelf right. Like I can't. I'm so bad. If you want me to fix your computer, I'll do it all day long and it'll be awesome. But no, I can't. Yeah,
I'm just grateful today. I rolled up because we had a nasty storm. I actually went to a meeting in Burgal last night. It was good. And it was supposed to be nice. You know, I had my sandals on. It was bad. We were driving like 30 miles an hour on the way home. And I was like, hopefully that's, if it's not dry, then I can't. I was like, I'll have to do the podcast, come back. But I'm like, rolled up and I'm like, lucky day.
Yeah. So it rained for like an hour last night here, and then I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, oh man, he's not gonna be able to pay. Anyway, these questions.
Okay, sorry, dude. Yeah, we got on.
So easy to talk to.
We got on a tangent. I'm good on tangents and rabbit holes.
Oh, man. Me too. So. Yeah. Your characteristics were what again? Yeah.
Self-righteous, inadequate, controlling, narrow-minded, and in denial. Man, that's
amazing sense.
That's the big five right now.
Awareness, man.
Yeah.
That's amazing sense of.
There's more.
And what do you do when that pops up though? When those and you realize you're like, whoop, all right. Like, what is your method of dialing it back?
I'm not gratefully lucky. I didn't have to reinvent the wheel, man. Just followed the beaten path of the millions of people in the rooms that have come before me. Mm-hmm. They say, live your way into better thinking. Act as if, just do the opposite. If I become aware of this defect or liability, the opposite of that is the asset, and just practice the asset. It's pretty basic. So it's like, okay, this is bad. Do this thing. Okay.
that's a pretty disciplined way to. You're the first.
But I didn't come up with that. I'm just like.
No, I know. Yeah.
You talked about self accountability. Your mentor, your sponsor, whoever your guide is, they're not always there. So you do have to keep your ego in check. Mm-hmm. But then sometimes you don't even know it's out of whack. So one of the ways I practice humility, which is a big thing we do, is accountability via sponsorship or mentorship. So I've done a lot of 12-step work. I've sponsored over 100 people. I've lost count. But I always stay on the receiving end of the 12-step. Like, I feel like, for me, that's important because I'm like, I just know I need that. I don't know what everybody else needs. I'm like, if people want me to guide them or be our mentor or sponsor, okay, well, this is what I've done. This is what works for me.
Yeah.
But I'm not trying to, like, fix, control, and manage, which...
Yeah.
I can do that too. I become aware and my first reaction is like, well, how do I fix this? How do I control? Well, sometimes you can't.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to let things ride.
You're like, that's a defect too. I'm like, shit, man. Let go.
Controlling and fixing is my
biggest
defect, man. My wife tells me all the time, she's like, I'm going to tell you about this. I'm like, well, what you could do? She goes, what you could do, shut the fuck up and listen. I'm like, oh, yeah.
I think we're fixers.
Yeah.
Men are like, well, I don't know if it's a man thing, but I'm a fixer. Sometimes they just want you to listen, man. I'm like, I don't know how to do that. I'm like, okay. Because I got a solution already.
It's people that have helped other people. The addict with a lot of good success, clean time, have sponsored people, or usually have a fixer mentality, but are more calm into listening. So it's more, instead of just cutting people off and all
Yeah.
that stuff. So last question for you. You know, we can think about our entire lives in 5 seconds. Just like when you have a dream at night. You feel like you have a dream that lasts 3 months, but in real life it's 5 seconds. Thinking about your whole life from as far as back you can remember to right this moment, what are you the most proud of?
I don't have an answer.
No?
Well, I just
And it's okay if you don't.
no, I messed up so much. I was supposed to skip like third and sixth grade. I was AP honor. Like, I had college credits before I even got to college. I had scholarships I pissed away, and you know, my first wife is no longer with us. If she was here, I'd chase her to the ends of the earth, whether she wanted me or not. You know what I'm saying? And but she's dead now. So, as far as career, I feel like I should be counseling, but that died out. I've had a little success with this business I've been running for like I've stayed clean through a lot of crap. I've stuck to principles when I wanted to be the other guy, but it's not really something to be proud of. It's like its actions have consequences. If I'm the other guy, there's consequences. Incarceration. So it's either spiritual death, which precedes to physical death, or new way to live, spirituality. I'm like, so I am where I am today because I have the time I have today because I just follow instructions. So it's like, what did I do? I just did what I was told, kind of. I don't know what I got to be proud of. It's all a gift. It's like, it was, here you go. The programs were written almost 100 years ago. It's like, here's a gift. Do this, you stay clean.
You just sent me in a deep rabbit hole of
Sorry.
thought. No. I mean, honestly, that is something to be proud of, is acknowledging that everything you've done as far as you've come and the people that you've helped has been a gift. Because the pride of being able to receive that gift,
Yeah.
no matter what we've been through, like to be able to receive that gift and give out that gift, that's something that I can't say. I've done a lot in my life, man, but I can't say I've ever been able to do that.
Yeah.
That's deep as hell, bro.
I kind of have I add a little bit more, like, the only self-control, not like, I have acted out a few times in recovery.
Yeah.
If I don't get enough rest, if I don't get that meditation, sometimes everything's great, and then sometimes I'll jump out of my truck with it still rolling and fight you at the Home Depot with 10 years clean. Like, that's a good example. That's a true story. But I'm like, that happened like right here at Monkey Junction, dude. Anyway, but more often than not, I've been more Dr. Jekyll for 14 years than I have Mr. Hyde. Mm-hmm. And Mr. Hyde's ever present. It's always there. The alter ego, it's always there, wanting to reemerge. And buddy, like, I want to do them like they did me.
Yeah.
But I'm like, so if I could be proud of anything, it's self-control. Mm-hmm. For the most part. It's like, I'm probably about in the 88%, you know, maybe 90.
Self-control,
Well,
the ability to continue existence and grow, and with growth. I think that is 3 amazing things, and honestly, nobody has ever brought those up. That's great.
Well, thank you.
Man, you're one interesting motherfucker, you know?
Well,
I like you, dude. You're a good. I can tell. I've always been good at being able to just read people. Like I just know, if somebody's a piece of shit. If somebody's, what their intentions are. All that stuff, man. You're a deep dude that has a huge self-awareness of where they've been, where they've came from, where they are right now being most important thing. That doesn't, people focus too much and too hard on where they want to be. And that's just kind of, for me personally, I don't do that because it's a downward slope of, well, if I'm not hitting this goal by this time, super hard on myself about it. So today is that day where I'm like, today is going to be that day where I'm just going to get this done. And then tonight, hopefully I'll be able to go to bed. And tomorrow, let's see what tomorrow does,
Yeah.
No, it's a good way to be, man. That's you seem like a very humble human being and well-deserved humbleness.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Like a well-deserved.
I've got a humility. I've got a joke for everything. I deflect with humor, man. Sometimes that's good. Sometimes that's a defect that comes from childhood and chaos. And,
right.
But I always say I'm the most humble guy I know. I'm proud of my expertise on the subject of humility.
Mm-hmm.
like that's not humility at all, bro. But thank you. If there's any insight or depth or it's all, I'm telling you. Like I advocate strongly for 12 steps. I have my preferred, but and there's other ways to become a Payne's a good teacher. Payne's a great teacher. I'm screwing up. What am I why am I hurting?
Yeah.
But thank you. I don't know. I'm not good at taking compliments.
No, I hear you, dude.
So I'm getting better at just saying thank you.
It sounds like that you've been able. That's
a difficult thing.
It is difficult. I hear you, dude. It sounds like to me, and I've always said this since I heard this one time, that humility is the best strength you can learn. Like humility, being able to embrace humility as a strength is the best foundation you can give for yourself. And it was something that I've worked really hard on. And I'm able to say that I can embrace humility. It's my best strength. Like it controls every emotion. But man, I appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you.
My day. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. Hopefully, I don't know. I'm a little bit vain. I'm working on that, but
we're all there.
It's easy when you're sad, right?
When you put in the work we put in on ourselves and helping others, man, you're gonna have a little bit of that there.